I never thought my own daughter would leave me to die alone on my bathroom floor. But there I was, burning with fever, barely able to lift my head, staring at a bag of cold Chinese takeout she dumped outside my door like I was some kind of stranger. The text message still glowed on my phone screen. I'm busy. 3 simple words that shattered everything I thought I knew about motherhood, sacrifice, and unconditional love. Let me take you back to where this all began, because the woman lying on that bathroom floor wasn't the same person who raised Anastasia from birth. I used to be Svetlana Volkov, successful marketing executive, devoted single mother, the kind of woman who had her life together. I wore power suits, closed million-dollar deals, and still made it home in time to help with homework every single night. When Anastasia's father walked out on us, when she was just 2 years old, I made a promise to myself and to her. I would be both parents. I would give her everything she needed and more. I worked 60-hour weeks, saved every penny I could, and poured my entire soul into raising the most wonderful daughter a mother could ask for. And she was wonderful. Anastasia was brilliant, beautiful, and ambitious. She graduated valedictorian, got a full scholarship to Stanford, and landed a high-paying job at a tech company straight out of college. I was so proud I could barely contain myself. All those years of sacrifice, all those nights I fell asleep at my desk after reviewing her college applications, all those times I ate ramen noodles so she could have dance lessons and summer camps, it had all been worth it. Or so I thought. The first sign something was wrong came 2 years ago when I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. The joint pain was excruciating some days, and the medication made me constantly exhausted. I had to cut back my hours at work, which meant less money coming in. But Anastasia was doing well, living in her expensive downtown apartment, posting pictures of fancy restaurants and weekend trips to Napa Valley on social media. "Mama, you raised me to be independent," she said when I mentioned struggling with the medical bills. "You should be proud that I'm standing on my own 2 feet. Independent. That's what I thought I wanted for her. But independence and abandonment aren't the same thing, are they? The second sign was last Christmas. I'd been looking forward to it for months, planning the perfect meal, buying her gifts I couldn't really afford. 3 days before, she texted me. Not called texted. Change of plans. Going to Cabo with Dimitri. "Sorry, Mama. We'll catch up soon." Dimitri was her boyfriend of 6 months. I'd met him exactly once. A brief introduction when I'd surprised them at a restaurant for Anastasia's birthday. He'd barely looked up from his phone, mumbling a quick hello before returning to whatever was so important on his screen. I spent Christmas alone that year, eating the turkey I'd prepared for 2, watching old movies and pretending it didn't matter. The gifts I'd bought her sat unopened under the tree until Valentine's Day, when I finally put them away. But nothing prepared me for what happened 3 weeks ago. I woke up with what I thought was a simple cold, sore throat, runny nose, nothing I hadn't dealt with 100 times before. But by evening, my temperature had spiked to 103 degrees. My whole body ached like I'd been hit by a truck, and I could barely keep water down. "Anastasia," I whispered into the phone when she finally answered on the 4th ring. "I think I'm sick. Really sick. Could you maybe come over? Or could I come stay with you for a night?" The silence stretched so long, I thought the call had dropped. "Mama, you know I'm super busy with this new project at work. And Dimitri and I have plans this weekend. Can't you just go to urgent care or something?" I can barely stand up, honey. I'm scared something might be really wrong. Another pause. "Look, I'll order you some soup and have it delivered. Get some rest and you'll be fine. You're tough, remember? You always told me you were tough." The line went dead. 6 hours later, the delivery bag sat outside my door with a container of wonton soup and a note from the restaurant. "Feel better soon." Even strangers showed more compassion than my own daughter. But that wasn't rock bottom. Rock bottom came 5 days later when I collapsed in my bathroom, hitting my head on the ceramic tile. I lay there for what felt like hours, my vision blurring, wondering if this was how it would end. Alone, forgotten, discarded like an old piece of furniture that had outlived its usefulness. That's when I managed to call Anastasia one more time. "I think I'm sick," I told her, my voice barely a whisper. Really, really sick. I fell, and I can't get up. I need help. What came next wasn't concern or love or even basic human decency. It was annoyance. "God, Mama, you're so dramatic. You probably just have the flu or something. I'm in the middle of a presentation. I'll drop some takeout by your place later." And she did. She literally drove to my apartment building, left a bag of Chinese food outside my door, sent that text "I'm busy," and left. She didn't knock. She didn't ask how I was feeling. She didn't even wait to see if I could make it to the door. From my bathroom floor, I could hear my neighbor Vera Petrovna's footsteps in the hallway. This 80-year-old woman who barely spoke English showed me more kindness in one afternoon than my daughter had in months. She found me, called 911, and held my hand in the ambulance while the paramedics worked to bring my fever down. "Pneumonia," they said. "Severe dehydration. Another few hours and it could have been much worse." Vera Petrovna visited me every day in the hospital. She brought homemade borscht and sat quietly while I slept. When I was discharged, she helped me get groceries and made sure I took my medication on schedule. Anastasia never came. Not once. She did send a text on day 3. "Heard you were in the hospital. Hope you're feeling better. Things are crazy at work." That's when something inside me finally broke. Not my heart that had been cracking for years. Something deeper. Something fundamental about who I thought I was and what I thought I'd accomplished as a mother. I'd raised a monster. A beautiful, successful, educated monster who saw her own mother as nothing more than an inconvenience. A person so self-absorbed that she couldn't spare even one evening to check on the woman who'd sacrificed everything for her future. But here's the thing about hitting rock bottom. It gives you a perfect foundation to build something new. The day I got home from the hospital, I made some calls. First to my lawyer, then to my financial advisor, then to the private investigator I'd used years ago for corporate research. See, there was something Anastasia didn't know about her dear old mama. Those 60-hour work weeks had paid off in more ways than just her college tuition. I had investments, savings accounts, and a life insurance policy that would have made her a very wealthy young woman someday. I'd also been planning to help with a down payment on a house, maybe contribute to my future grandchildren's college funds. But why should I leave everything to someone who couldn't even be bothered to visit me when I was dying? The private investigator's report was illuminating. Anastasia's social media showed a very different story than the busy with work narrative she'd been selling me. Concert tickets, designer handbags, vacation photos. She'd posted 17 photos during the week I was in the hospital. 17 photos of brunches, shopping trips, and spa days while her mother nearly died alone. The most revealing photo was from the exact day I'd collapsed. She was at some trendy rooftop bar, champagne glass raised in a toast. Caption reading, "Living my best life." No drama, no stress, just good vibes. No drama. While I was unconscious on a bathroom floor. That's when I made my decision. I revised my will, removing Anastasia as my beneficiary, and instead leaving everything to organizations that help elderly people and single mothers. I changed the emergency contact information on all my medical forms to Vera Petrovna. I updated my power of attorney documents. Then I sent Anastasia one final text. "I wanted to let you know that I've made some changes to my estate planning. Since you're so busy and independent, I thought you'd appreciate not having to deal with any of that drama when I'm gone." I found people who actually care about my well-being to handle those responsibilities. Hope work is going well, she called within 10 minutes. What the hell does that mean, Mama? What changes? For the first time in months, I smiled. Oh, honey, I'm sure you're too busy to worry about boring legal stuff. Don't let me interrupt your best life. The calls and texts came flooding in after that. Suddenly, she had time to visit, time to care, time to act like a loving daughter. But it was too little, too late. The mask had slipped, and I'd seen exactly who she really was underneath all those years of good grades and achievements. I didn't need her fake concern or her calculated kindness. I'd found something better. I'd found my self-worth. Vera Petrovna and I have become genuine friends. We cook together, watch old movies, and share stories about our lives. She lost her daughter in a car accident 15 years ago and always wanted someone to fuss over. I lost my daughter to selfishness and narcissism, and I needed someone who understood what real love looked like. It's funny how life works sometimes. I spent 26 years raising a daughter who turned out to be incapable of love, but in my darkest moment, I found a chosen family member who shows me more genuine affection in a week than Anastasia showed me in years. Last month, Anastasia showed up at my door with flowers and apologies, tears streaming down her face, begging me to reconsider my decision. She'd broken up with Dmitri, she said. She was in therapy, she said. She finally understood how badly she'd treated me, she said. Maybe she meant it. Maybe she didn't. But here's what I've learned. When someone shows you who they are in your moment of greatest need, believe them the first time. I'm not angry anymore. Anger requires too much energy, and I'd rather spend mine on people who actually deserve it. Anastasia will figure out her own life, just like she wanted. And I'll figure out mine, surrounded by people who see me as more than just an obligation or an inconvenience. Sometimes the greatest gift we can give ourselves is the permission to stop trying to earn love from people who are simply incapable of giving it freely. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is walk away from relationships that were slowly killing us, even when those relationships are supposed to be sacred. I'm 62 years old, and I'm finally learning what it feels like to be valued. It's better late than never.